Welcome back to another edition of Just Another Sports Betting Podcast. I'm Cody. You can follow me on Twitter at Cody_CHGO. And I'm joined once again, and as always, since we started doing this consistently, my guy Tommy Irving.
Hello.
Tom of Wrigley on Twitter.
Hello. Yeah, this is fun. This is too fun to pass up every time the opportunity comes. So here we are. We got hockey rolling already, baseball rolling already, but I would like to talk some football with my boy.
Let's do it, man. I just would like to say that before we start, that the line for Broncos and Saints moved to 3 today.
In favor of the Saints? Or in favor of the Broncos?
I think so, yeah. I think it'd be more in favor of the Broncos.
Yeah. So 3.5 favor Broncos favored by 3.5.
Yeah. So I just found it interesting, and I'm just glad I got him at 2.5 yesterday.
I took the Saints money line, so whatever. Okay. For the sake of the show, quite honestly.
Big of you. Okay. If you missed that episode, the game starts in an hour. I'm not telling you to leave here. However, you can always come back and watch this because college football slate really doesn't start till Saturday. We'll talk about some Friday games, I'm sure. But that's on the
honestly, here's what you can do. Open another tab. Go to my Twitter at Tom of Wrigley. I put up the same game parlay that we talked about last night. That's really all you need. Go on FanDuel, put the same game parlay in. It's a risk-free if you do the opt-in. So put $5-10 on it, ride with us, and if it loses, you get a free bet to figure it out.
There you go. I like it. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right. College football, week 8. We're here. We had the best college football slate of the week last week. I was right about Oregon. You were wrong about Ohio State. We were both
by
right.
A 12-man on the field crap. That's why.
But it still worked. It still worked.
Whatever.
But we were both right about LSU, though. All right, we were both right about LSU.
Yeah, they don't lose in Death Valley at night. That was a fun game to watch, and what was a fun game to watch until it wasn't was Penn State USC when we were responsibly screwed by the Big Ten refs keeping Penn State into the national title conversation. So that hurt for our parlay. It was awesome. We were riding. That was our only mistake. Can you imagine though if UFC did win that and we were watching that Florida Tennessee game that like Tennessee just stunk and then found a way at the end? Like, can you imagine what the nerves would have been if we had to do that?
And we got one underdog that already hit. We were both right about. Well, I'll give you all the credit. You had Arizona State and you convinced me, and I put it in there and it hit. So. Yeah, we just needed USC and it didn't work. So before the end of the show, we will craft a college football money line parlay for the Saturday slate. And I was thinking about doing one for tomorrow because there's like 4 games tomorrow. So
couple good ones tomorrow too, for sure.
Yeah. So the title is Texas and Georgia. It's the best game of the week.
Yep.
It's the one talked about the most. So I feel like we have to start there. We have to keep the viewers here.
That's great.
We have to talk about Texas and Georgia.
That's great because that is what I alluded to last night as my official. I don't know what to call it yet because I've never done a play like this before, but it is my, like, I don't know if you can say lock legally or whatever you can say, but this is the mega ultra massive for sure responsibly play of the week that I've never done before and will be doing for the first time.
Oh boy. Well, now I feel some pressure here.
And quite honestly, it might be the easiest pick I've ever made in my entire life too.
All right. Well, I guess I'll start.
Okay.
Just keep the drama going here.
I love it.
Georgia plus 4.5.
Love it. Great.
Georgia plus 4.5. Texas has played Oklahoma and Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
They killed Oklahoma last week, and they killed Michigan too, but Michigan not nearly as good as we all thought that, or hoped that they would be. Georgia they played a bad half against Alabama and then almost came all the way back and beat them. This is a must-win game for Georgia. Like, Georgia needs to win this game. If we're talking just strictly college football playoff implications, Georgia needs to win this game. Texas can afford a loss. And they've beat Oklahoma and they've beat Michigan, which, again, they're not the greatest teams, but they're still good teams. I think Texas loses this game, or I think 4.5 is at least too much. So give me Kirby Smart and that underdog mentality that he somehow, some way spews to his team, despite the fact that they're always favorites. They're always massive favorites. However, he gets his team to play like they're underdogs every week. Give me the Bulldogs on the road at Texas.
Okay. All right. This will be technically Texas' second SEC matchup. Third. I'm going to call it their second because Oklahoma is a Big 12 matchup. Yeah. Not like this is, so they played Mississippi State. They took them to the woodshed. This is their second time playing an SEC opponent in the SEC, and it's against Georgia, and it is at home, and it is a night game on ABC. This was the easiest play that I made on Tuesday or Monday. I either put it on Monday or Tuesday. It was Texas 2.5. I put in Texas 2.5. We are up to 5. All the things you said are very true. The Texas hasn't played anybody. Georgia only scored 48 against Tennessee Tech. They only scored 13 against Kentucky. They put up 31 late against Auburn, and Mississippi State put up 31 on them last week. They haven't played anybody either, and it's been a lot closer than Texas. And this game is huge. This is Texas saying, we are here in the SEC. We are here to stay. We are going to be the number one team. We are going to be the team that the SEC invests in to make it to the national championship. Texas, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. I don't care. Texas is going to win this game by about a touchdown. At least a touchdown, I should say. This is the play for me. I cannot wait for this to be over by halftime. Like, I think they are going to throttle Georgia.
Okay. Well, I guess this is going to be like Oregon and Ohio State.
No, because I wasn't as confident in Ohio State as I am.
You're very
Texas.
confident.
The only thing that does scare me is possibly the SEC officials being like, well, we need Georgia to be in the conversation with Texas, and Georgia, like you said, cannot afford a loss. But man, Texas can make a huge statement this weekend, and absolutely. I really, really believe in them to do it. I think Georgia was definitely looking ahead to this game against Mississippi State. Texas is just moving right along by schedule. They wallop their biggest rival, and now they got Georgia coming to their house. Give me Texas. Give me Texas. I cannot wait. And I also, just to see if we agree on this one, I like the under in this one too. It's at 56.5. I think that's way too many points. I think this is going to be a real SEC battle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of like the under. Maybe that's the safest play because everything you're saying, I won't lie, you're getting me to maybe change my mind a little bit, but at the same time, you got them at 2.5.
I did.
4.5 is a lot of points for a game that I think is going to be close. You think it's going to be a touchdown, so it sounds like you'd take them at 4.5.
Well, I took them at 2.5, and then I took them again at 3.5. I stopped at 3.5 because I was like, okay, hang on now. But yeah, so I need them by 4.
It sounds like you should just do an alternate line of Texas -7 or -6.5.
If I was smart on Monday, I would have done it, but I'm only smart on Thursday. So be it. This is Texas, man. It's got Texas written all over it. And I cannot wait because I am from the Atlanta area. I know a lot of people that are Georgia fans, including my brother-in-law and his family. My parents have turned into Georgia fans. I cannot stand Georgia fans. Their logo looks exactly like the Packers logo. I cannot wait for Texas to be like, I am the captain of the SEC now, and just take them out. It's going to be glorious.
Wow. Okay. This is the lock of the century.
Well, not the century, just like the week.
This sounds like the lock of the century. You haven't sounded this confident. Well, you did sound pretty confident about Arizona State last week.
So. I did. Yeah, that's true. That one felt that was a Thursday night game that felt really good.
Yeah.
Or Friday night. It was a Friday night game. Yeah.
Shout out Cam Scattaboo. Okay. Well, I'm still gonna take Georgia at 4.5.
Right.
I might be able to, if it somehow comes back down under 3, like I don't know, maybe I change my mind. But
I am not good at betting on games when we're indifferent and you have something else to do other than watch the game. So you got that in your back pocket.
That's true. That's true. Okay. I'm on Georgia. You're on Texas. Best of luck, but not really.
I understand. I understand. But yeah, that's Saturday night. And we got some Friday ones to talk about too. There's a couple of intriguing matchups to me on Friday night.
Shall we go to the Friday slate before we hit Saturday?
Please.
Because obviously. Okay. Friday. There's 2 games, first off, it's 11:20. It's 6:18. We have 10 minutes to kick off. I took Boston College plus 8.5.
Okay. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't make a pick. I kind of liked Virginia Tech just because it's a night game at Virginia Tech. But then I remembered
these night games, dude. It's not like LSU. Bro.
I know, but here's what I'm saying. Then I remembered it was like, wait, Virginia Tech was like supposed to be like the darling of the ACC, and I don't think I've heard about them since before their first game. So. Yeah.
Well, they got screwed in the Miami game, and then I think they won their last game. So like they're coming in feeling pretty good. And Boston College, they led at halftime against their last opponent and then blew it. I think it was against Virginia. And they haven't played their best football the last couple of weeks. And their win over Florida State, no one looks at it as anything big anymore since they stink.
Right. Yeah.
But I think Boston College is a really good team. So
yeah, they went to Stanford Virginia Tech went to Stanford last week and won 31-7, but Stanford kind of stinks. So yeah, you're probably right, but I'm going to stay away because I got too much hockey going on tonight.
I hear you. All right. So do you want to hear my Friday night lights parlay that I had that I've already made?
Sure.
And perhaps it could be the Friday night lights show parlay.
Okay.
It perhaps could. Okay.
All right.
I'm calling it the last $5 to avoid depositing again parlay.
I love it. All right.
The last $5 to avoid depositing again parlay. Purdue plus 28.5 against Oregon. Oregon just had that emotional win at home against Ohio State. Now they got to travel across the country to the shit state of Indiana and play Purdue. Purdue played a really close game against Illinois. Could this be a letdown spot for them as well? I don't know. All I know is that 28.5 points is a lot, and Oregon really doesn't give a shit going into this game.
Right.
I think that 28.5 points is a lot. All right.
Okay.
So the first leg of this parlay is Purdue plus 28.5.
Okay.
Next up, Duke money line because Florida State stinks. All right.
Okay.
BYU money line against Oklahoma State. Mormons Friday night sounds about right. Give me BYU.
Soak it up, baby.
Soak it up. And then the one underdog Nevada money line. They're home underdogs. They're 3-point dogs at home in their matchup. Give me Nevada money line. So it's a 4-legger. Yeah, there's only one spread, but why would I put Oregon money line? They're minus 10,000.
Right. Yeah. And what, if I may ask, what are the odds on that bad boy?
Plus 808.
Plus 808 for the 4 of those. Interesting. Okay. Initial thoughts? No real initial thoughts. It all sounds okay. I also feel like Oregon is all over Purdue here. I agree. I don't think that they care if it's 4 touchdowns or 6 touchdowns or whatever. They did just win an emotional game against Ohio State. Purdue is known for some magic when they have to play a night game in the conference. I think they've gotten Ohio State a couple times at home. They have shown up for some of these games, but this Purdue team is They stink. It is not good. So
they are bad. Yes. I mean, there's a reason it's 28.5.
Right. And I did not write down the 28.5 just because, technically it is a short week. So I wasn't sure, but I do like the under 60 because if Oregon throttles them, I don't think they get to 60 themselves. And I don't think Purdue can score any points. So I put under 60 on my piece of paper, but I'm not opposed to your 28.5 either.
Okay.
As for Florida State and Duke, Florida State has won one game this year in which they scored 14 points to do it. Duke, on the other hand, has lost only one game, and it was to Georgia Tech last week where they only scored 14 points. Duke is very much the best team here in this matchup. However, I think it is worth noting, or at least worth talking about, there is a lot of money right now on Florida State to win this game. Not just by the spread, but like taking the money line. So I do feel like that this is one where everything's kind of backwards. Yeah. And Duke does win this game because, I mean, you're reading it right here that they are the better team. And it's not even like they're in a look ahead spot because they have SMU next week, who is the 21st ranked team in the country, but it's a home game for them at night. So I don't think they're looking ahead or anything. Florida State was supposed to be, we've talked about the darling of the SEC, darling of the ACC. Florida State is supposed to be in contention for the ACC every single year, and they stink. And I think Duke is licking their chops waiting for this. So I am with you on Duke. I had them written down at -3, but obviously a money line isn't going to scare me away either.
Yeah. On the money line, they're -155.
Okay.
At least on BetMGM.
All right. So you have already placed this parlay, correct?
I have already placed what is called the last $5 to avoid depositing again parlay.
Okay. I think in principle and respect, as your partner here, I will ride with you on this. The 28.5 does scare me a little bit, but like I trust the process. You're a big Oregon guy. You know the Oregon program inside and out. Obviously, I don't know anything about them. So I'm going to ride with you on this parlay, but I'm also going to take the under 60 separately and then Duke -3 also.
Okay. And you're okay with BYU and Nevada?
I don't know anything about those games, but I trust you.
Okay. And Nevada, I couldn't think of who they were playing when I said it, but they host Fresno State, who has been down this year compared to previous seasons.
BYU is playing Oklahoma State. The Action Network actually has them +9.5 as a B+ play, but that is a touchdown and a field goal. So, I mean, I feel very comfortable with the money line on BYU
-350,
and they really got something special happening up there. They're feeling themselves a little bit, aren't they?
Maybe they stopped soaking. Who knows?
Let's not get carried away here.
Let's not get too far away now.
yeah. But I'm with you on the parlay, and then also Friday night, just separate plays: Duke -3, and then Oregon Purdue under 60 for me.
I think I might take the under. I like that, and I might take. I might bet Purdue separately on the spread too. And I just like fading Florida State. It's been fun fading them all year.
Yeah, I mean, being in that bar and like with all the Florida State fans when it's Clemson and literally not giving a crap about the game because playoff baseball was on. Yeah. Great feeling. Would love to do it again sometime.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. We are 19 minutes in. We got to get to Saturday.
Let's do it.
Let's start with the 11 a.m. slate.
Okay.
And that first game that shows up for me when I opened up FanDuel, Nebraska and Indiana. Nebraska at Indiana. The spread is 6.5. But I like the under 49.5.
That feels good.
Under 40, Nebraska, Indiana, under 49.5. It opened at 52.5. Nebraska's 11th in red zone efficiency on defense. They're 5-1 to the under this year. However, Indiana is 5-1 to the over, so something's got to give here, right?
Sure.
Nebraska is the 7th. They're ranked 7th against the run. I think Indiana's going to need to be able to establish the run against them if they're planning to score some points. I think Raiola is better than Curtis Rourke. And I also think Nebraska is the best team that Indiana will have faced by the end of Saturday. I think the best team that they have faced so far is Maryland. So I say that because I know Indiana's been putting up some points. Their rankings are pretty high in different categories, but I've watched Nebraska in recent weeks, and their defense has been really solid.
Yeah.
So give me the under 49.5 Nebraska and Indiana. Big Ten football, baby. Punts and just nothing.
Yeah, low scoring and punts. Obviously, I'm with you on that, but that has me thinking Nebraska plus 6.5 because you talked about how good their defense looks. And also, there's a lot of pressure on Indiana this week. I need to see who they're scheduled to face next week. It's Washington. It's a home game against Washington at 11 a.m. And I was watching the Pat McAfee show either yesterday or today, and they had Indiana's football coach on there and they were talking to him. From what I gathered in their conversation, if Indiana wins this game, game day is going to be in Bloomington next week for this game.
Oh, okay.
So I think that Indiana is well aware of that. And there's some extra pressure on this game. And Nebraska is like 2-1 in the conference. They're feeling kind of good about themselves too. This is a big game for them. And I think ultimately Indiana will win the game. But I think Nebraska can keep it within a touchdown very easily.
Yeah, see, I would, if that spread moved up to 7 or 7.5, I would consider Nebraska. But I just think that there aren't going to be a ton of points. I think that this game could finish like 23-20.
Sure.
Or 26-20. I don't know. I hate taking 6.5. I looked at an alternate line. It's like minus 140 on FanDuel for 7.5.
I'm seeing there's a couple places that have the 6.5 at minus 105. So if you move that to like minus or plus 6.5. So if you moved it to plus 7.5, maybe about minus 135, 140 ish. I don't know. I think I like 6.5 though. I know it's a touchdown. I know it's weird, but
such a key number.
Yeah. So I think I am leaning 6.5. Of course, I will make my plays official on Saturday. I'm not shy away from that, but I'm leaning 6.5.
Your only play is Texas.
Well, no. I'm in on the parlay, and then I locked in my other two plays.
Oh, that's fair. You're right.
But Nebraska was not one that I previously had written down. But of course, I think about it because I think about all these things.
Okay.
I got a funny one for you.
Let's go.
How about Tulsa money line against Temple in Philly?
Hell yeah, brother!
For no reason whatsoever. These are two pretty tough teams. But I was reading a couple models and projections, and this it opened up and said that I'm trying to find where it said it, but there's a model and projection that I use sometimes on Action Network that said that obviously Tulsa is 3-point underdogs going to Temple, but their model and projection has them as 4-point favorites. And I was like, you have my attention. So I found the money line. I got to look and see what I got it in at, but I found a good price on it and I went for it. And this is a game that I will not be watching. And then all of a sudden I'll look on my phone and be like, oh, sweet. Or, oh, all right, whatever. Yeah. So I am on the Tulsa money line. For no reason whatsoever.
Why are we taking Tulsa money line? We have no idea, but the internet told us that it's a good play. So
the internet told me it was a good play, and I'm a sucker for a good play. So if you tell me somebody's supposed to be a 4-point favorite and they're a 3-point underdog, I will hit the money line literally every single time.
All right, Tulsa money line. Let's ride. My next play, it might be the most disgusting play of the entire college football slate.
I love it.
All right. And I already gave out an under, but I just can't help myself, Tommy.
Okay.
UCLA at Rutgers under 40.5.
Have to. Yeah.
All right. UCLA has to travel all the way across to the East Coast and play an 11 a.m. game. All right. It'll feel like 9 a.m. in Piscataway. Okay.
And they're UCLA folks in Piscataway.
Yeah. Okay.
Where's the motivation there?
The under in UCLA's last 13 games has hit 11 times. It's 11-2 their last 13 games that they have played. UCLA is 132nd in the country in scoring offense. They're 132nd in the country in rushing offense.
Mm-hmm.
Rutgers just gave up 42 points to Wisconsin. I know their defense is better than that.
Yeah.
And this UCLA team is not nearly as good as Wisconsin. Punts, more punts, couple missed field goals probably. And at some point, maybe it rains. Who knows? I don't even know. But all I know is that this game screams under in a race to maybe 12 points.
Sure. Yeah. Let me feed off of that a little bit. I love the under. That's a great idea there. Rutgers is only favored by 4.5, which isn't a bad line either for this. But let me entice you on a little sprinkle if you're allowed to do this, but you are. What about the Rutgers defensive touchdown? Like you said, they gave up a lot of points to Wisconsin last week. They're ready to make a statement. Mm-hmm. UCLA is 0-4 in the conference and 1-5 overall. I'm seeing the Rutgers defensive touchdown anytime is plus 340, which is a lot lower odds than defensive touchdowns normally are. So that tells me that the books are kind of feeling like, yeah, this is probably a possibility. So,
okay.
I like the under. I like Rutgers, and maybe we'll sprinkle you want an unnecessary same game parlay? Rutgers right there. It's right there for the taking.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned UCLA on the spread. You know, they're 4-2 against the spread the last 6 games on the road. But I'm staying away just because I don't know what's going to happen. And to me, this game is Rutgers 115th ranked pass offense versus UCLA's 116th pass or 116th ranked pass defense. So
riveting.
Yeah.
Why don't they play this one in London? Like, right? This is a London game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel really disgusting that I'm going to place this bet and then like somewhat follow it on Saturday. Okay.
That is gross.
But
all right.
Whatever.
I got a gross one for you too.
All right.
NC State plus 10 at Cal. Oh wait, I'm sorry. That is not a noon game or 11 o'clock game.
Well, that's okay.
I'm ahead of myself.
My next one isn't a noon game anyway.
Okay, so we're just moving on to the next slate. Great.
Yeah.
NC State plus 10 at Cal. Cal, man. Heartbreak after heartbreak, let me tell you. And so talk about a team that's down bad. And NC State, I know that they lost their starting quarterback. I don't know for how long. I don't know. Yep. Yeah, I don't know how long he's out or if he's even playing or not. But NC State, probably a lot of these kids' first time going to the West Coast, kind of having fun. They get a Cal team that could not be more down bad. I kind of like Cal here to keep it within, or NC State to keep it within 10 points at least. Like, at least make it interesting for somebody. So I took NC State plus 10. That's also where the money's headed on this one too. So that made me feel confident about it.
Okay. I kind of like it. All right.
Yeah.
NC State.
Take advantage of these down bad teams, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Cal's unfortunately a good team to fade right now. They faced Pitt last week, right?
Right. Yeah. And Pitt did not cover.
It did not cover.
But they did win the game, which was part of our parlay. I took the spread separately. But lost on that one. But yeah, Wolfpack, they're 3-4 overall. They haven't won a game in the ACC yet, but neither has Cal. They're 3-3. So these are two very, like, at least record wise, two very similar teams that are kind of down bad and kind of can't score points. So keep it within 10 of each other. I think that feels pretty good.
Okay. All right. This next game, I'm going to use this YouTube comment to introduce it. All right. Illinois and Michigan. Christopher in the chat says he's taking Illinois plus 150 against Michigan. And as everyone knows, I'm an Illinois fan. This YouTube channel has plenty of Illini content basketball-wise on it. All right. I was on the All Big Ten podcast of Under All City Network yesterday. And we talked about this game. And unfortunately, if you live in the state of Illinois, you can't bet this at all. Like, you can't even go to books like in person anymore and bet on Illinois colleges.
You can't do that anymore?
You can't. No. I tried to go bet on Illinois at the DraftKings Sportsbook at Wrigley Field, like when they played Kansas like 3 weeks ago or whenever it was, and they wouldn't let me place the bet because you just can't do it in Illinois anymore. The law changed in like July. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's makes me want to punch walls legitimately. All right. So I cannot bet this game. However, and I'm going to use your thinking a little bit here, Tommy.
Love it.
Illinois is going to be wearing these like old timey uniforms.
Uh-oh.
Their helmets are going to look like when like back in like the 50s or whatever. Like it's a uniform game. I'm just going to put a Illinois money line, the spread, whatever, because it's a uniform game. It's in Champaign. And first off, those are just vibes, but like they have the better quarterback. I think they have a better offense in general. Does Michigan have a better defense than Illinois? Probably. I think if Illinois can get some turnovers, can create any turnovers at all, they're going to win this game. And they're going to have the home crowd behind them. This is the biggest game in Champaign for football, probably since I was like a teenager.
Probably since the Bears played there.
Yeah. The biggest game in Champaign since Juice Williams and Rashard Mendenhall suited up. The last time Illinois beat Michigan was in like 2009. Okay. This would be a huge win for the Illinois football program if they win. There's so much at stake here for Illinois than it is Michigan. Michigan, they already have 2 losses. They're coming off a loss to Washington. Their offense just looks so atrocious, man.
Yeah.
And they've been terrible against the spread this year. If I could bet this game, this would be my lock of the week. And I know a lot of it is from my heart, but at the same time, this would be my lock of the week. If I could bet this game, I would hammer Illinois money line.
Yeah. Yeah. Christopher's all over it.
Yeah. He says he's backing up the money truck on it.
Do it responsibly.
Responsibly.
Head out the window looking back,
Michigan doesn't pass the eye test, so beatable, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, I will always go against Michigan as many times as I can. I love Illinois here too. Obviously, we can't bet it, and hang on here. I will be in the state of Indiana tomorrow, so I could.
Can I know you?
Let's talk offline about that because I think that's illegal.
Oh, okay.
But I'll be in Indiana, so maybe it strikes my fancy to put a couple bets in. I need to look up who's Northwestern got this week too.
Wisconsin.
Oh, give me Wisconsin on that one. All right. I'll put 2 bets in there over there.
There you go.
But yeah, I love it. Illinois. I love throwback uniform days. I love, you said all the things and stuff. I'm with you. I love it.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Now I'm just going to go straight into the next play because I brought that up because of the comments, but let's move to the Big 12. I think that's what they're in. Colorado money line and the over against Arizona. It's at 58.5. It went over last year. Strength of schedule between these two teams is pretty similar. I think Arizona is like 13th. Colorado is like 15th. Arizona's outside the top 50 in defensive sacks and turnovers and quarterback hits. What does Colorado really struggle with? Blocking up front. Their offensive line sucks. So when I'm telling you that Arizona struggles to get after their quarterback, at least they're not an elite team at it. I feel like Colorado can hang around. I feel like Colorado can perhaps win the game. All right. Colorado 7th in passing. Shedeur Sanders. He's the best. He'll be the best player on the field. Second best player. Travis Hunter is also on that team. They have a great offense, right? Colorado 7th in passing. Arizona is 60th in the country against the pass. They also are third. Arizona is also 30th passing, like on offense as well, which is another reason why I like the over. Arizona's offensive line, 15th in sacks allowed, 11th in quarterback hits. So they don't let people get after them. Not that Colorado's going to do much on defense anyway. They haven't done much on defense all season. So I love the over for sure. But I also think Colorado has played well in recent weeks. They could have won last week against Kansas State. They got to go to Arizona for this one. So it'll be a tough one to win on the road. But I'm willing to risk it a little bit here. But my favorite play is the over for sure. But I'm gonna take Colorado money line as well.
Yeah, Colorado just had an emotional win with Kansas State, which I really appreciate them and Kansas State working together last week to get me the over. But I
thought they lost to Kansas State. Did I read the box score wrong? I thought that I know I took the over in that game last week, but I'm pretty sure they lost to Kansas State.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, they lost to Kansas State by like 3 points.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Like they won the over. I appreciate them working together to get the over because I got the over.
Thank you.
but it was still an emotional game. Yeah, I'll take your word for it. I'm probably not going to play this one, but I love overs, so I'm with you on that. And yeah, I don't root against Dion. Yeah, I mean, that would be a big win for them. I know that they've lost a couple and expectations are high. I mean, they brought expectations onto themselves, but yeah, this would be a big win for them.
Yeah, I just think both teams are pretty similar. And again, this was a 34-31 game last year. I don't like Colorado's defense. I love their offense. And you're telling me that Arizona isn't great at getting after the quarterback? Okay. Colorado's offense should be able to do a lot this week. Then.
Right. Yeah.
If you don't want to bet the game, I would bet something on Jimmy Horn or Travis Hunter receiving yards, something like that, because I think this is going over. I might do that too. So,
sure.
Christopher in the chat, he says Indiana -6 is intriguing as well. Christopher, I don't know when you joined, but we did talk about that game a little bit earlier if you want to rewind it after the show or whatever, but I do like the under in that game. But
he likes the under. I like Nebraska actually on that one, but
yeah,
to each their own,
To each their own.
Okay, I got one for you. Notre Dame is taking a trip to Atlanta to play Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody realizes just how scrappy this Georgia Tech team is. And 12 points is way too many to give Georgia Tech at home. Like, I understand Notre Dame, they had their loss against Northern Illinois, and now they're just beating up on everybody. But they also have Navy next week, and that is a rivalry game, and Navy's undefeated, and they may have to be getting ready for a triple option situation. Now, Georgia Tech used to run the triple option, but I think they're moving away from that more, and they're using their pass game. I think Notre Dame is going to get caught in Atlanta, and I think Notre Dame can still win the game, but I just see it as a one-possession game. 12 points is just too many to give to this Georgia Tech team, so I am going to be on Georgia Tech +12, confirmed.
See, I was going to add this to my list, but the only thing holding me back from betting it is Haynes King is questionable. That's the quarterback for Georgia Tech.
Did not know that.
Yeah. He's questionable. It doesn't mean he's not going
to play. He'll play against Notre Dame. Who do they got next week? They're at Virginia Tech after this. So I still like it. I think he plays. Plays.
He exited last week's game against North Carolina with an undisclosed injury.
And they still won on a walk-off too. Didn't they walk it off against them? So
I think so. If Georgia Tech's able to run the ball, they're going to cover that spread.
They can run the ball. That's how they beat North Carolina last week, was on the ground. So
yeah. That like Haynes King is a dual threat guy, and then their running back's been pretty solid. Yeah, like I agree. Like they were 10-point dogs against Florida State first game of the year, and they won outright, right?
Yep.
So I do think Notre Dame is obviously better than Florida State. But yeah, I'm gonna wait on it, make sure he plays, and I hope that spread keeps moving. If it gets up to 14, I perhaps will definitely hammer it no matter what.
Dabble.
Yeah. All right. My next game. This is how do I say this? It's very similar to UCLA and Rutgers for me. Maryland +7.5 against USC. All right. Maryland's got a better strength of schedule. Kyron Hudson is questionable for USC. And USC, coming off this loss to Penn State at home, has to travel all the way across the country to Maryland. And they haven't been able to beat a Big Ten school in the Midwest or in the East Coast yet. They lost at Minnesota. They lost at Michigan. Their only really good win this year is against LSU. First game of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very
and
true.
And they had the huge lead against Penn State, and they shit their pants, bro.
Right in our face, too.
And Maryland is coming off getting smoked by Northwestern. Now they're going to be at home, 7.5-point dogs, going up against a USC team that blew a game and now has to travel across the country and play in College Park. 7.5 seems like too much for me. Give me the Terps.
Okay. I like that. I like it. I'm mad at USC anyway, so that works.
Also, USC 2-8 against the spread the last 10 games as a favorite.
Hello.
So
there's a stat. All right, I'm writing that down. Yeah. All right.
I'm going to continue to use this whole West Coast Big Ten teams having to travel all the way across the country.
It's a thing. It is a thing.
It's absolutely a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing. All right. I got another one.
Okay.
Let's head to the SEC for a minute. We got kind of a big one here.
I hope we're on this. I hope you're going to say the game that
this is a loser leaves town game, I believe, which is between Alabama and Tennessee.
Okay.
Loser leaves town, right? Bama's got a loss. Has Tennessee lost yet?
They lost to Arkansas.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. On that terrible day that Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. Yeah. Look, this is it for both of these guys. Like, loser leaves town. It's a 3-point spread. The total is 56.5, and that's where I'm headed. This is another SEC game. I'm going under 56.5 right here. I kind of like Tennessee at home because Alabama is just flirting with disaster week after week, and eventually it's going to bite them in the butt. So I kind of lean Tennessee, but I think I'm on the under on this one.
Yeah. See, I kind of like the over.
Okay.
Just because I like Josh Heupel. He's an offensive coach. And both these teams just haven't played their best football their last 2 games. And when both teams haven't played good football, but they're still they still are who they are, I feel like you're going to get the best game out of both teams.
But are they who they are?
Well, I mean, Alabama is Alabama. I know Nick Saban's not there anymore, but they're still Alabama. They still beat Georgia. Tennessee's, they responded somewhat against Florida last week.
I think they laid down against Florida.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely one of those like you were thinking.
Let's see. They beat NC State when they were ranked 24th, 51-10. They beat Oklahoma at Oklahoma 25-15. That was a good win.
Yeah.
Lost to Arkansas and then beat Florida by a touchdown late in the game. So it's a weird one.
I think in some ways too, you can say that last week was a trap game because they both knew they were going to have to play this game.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I still lean under. I think both defenses are playing really well. Yeah. They're just the offense just isn't there yet. So if the defense is playing well, that makes me think it's an under.
Now, I'm going to take Tennessee money line.
Interesting.
Tennessee money line. Both teams are 5-1. They're both 2-1 in conference. Tennessee 6-3 against the spread their last 9 games at home. I know that has nothing to do with the money line, but they like to cover at home. It's 3 points.
Yep.
When I look at strength of schedule, it scares me. Alabama's 28th in strength of schedule. Tennessee is 103rd.
Whew.
But Tennessee's at home, and I think you're going to get Tennessee's best game of the year at home against an Alabama team that for 2 weeks in a row they have just they should have blew the doors off of South Carolina. And the only reason I give Tennessee a little bit of a break against Florida is not only was it a trap game, but that is a rivalry game too.
Sure.
So you knew I should have thought that Florida was going to give them their best chance.
Yeah.
So I just think Tennessee at home, it's going to be a crazy environment against another rival there. They beat Alabama at home 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was a big deal when they did that.
I'm definitely plugging my nose and placing the bet because part of me, everything points that I should take Alabama. When Alabama's 28th in strength of schedule and Tennessee's 103rd, that's like a, like it's hard for me, But I think these teams are pretty similar. They're both in similar spots. Like, I think everyone's down on both of them right now. And now Alabama, who, in my opinion, played the lesser team last week compared to Tennessee. Like, I didn't fully watch the Alabama game, but they were up 14-0, and then it was 14-13 it was 14-0 with 2 minutes to go in the second quarter against South Carolina, and then it became 14-13 at halftime because of some dumb mistakes that they made.
Sure.
Like, I just don't know if those things are going to change on the road in a tough environment. So, Tennessee money line, and I'm going to take the over.
I would say that if you like Tennessee, then you got to be thinking under, though. It's just Tennessee and the over just don't match up to me in my head.
I think I think that you're going to get the best games out of both of these teams, and you're going to be surprised.
All right. Well, I'm putting that down as another one we're against each other on. I'm taking the under, I think.
All right.
That's fair.
All right. I have one more play.
Okay.
And then there is a late night Saturday game that we can discuss.
Okay.
Where is it? Okay. Yeah, it's my last one. All right. Arkansas money line at home against LSU. All right.
I had this written down. I couldn't decide on it, but yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Well, let me convince you, my friend. All right. LSU has played one true road game this year.
Mm-hmm.
It was against South Carolina, and they trailed most of that game. All right. This is also like a 2:30 game. It's not a night game. Okay. I know Arkansas is coming off the huge upset win over Tennessee. They're also coming off the bye. And so they've had time to prepare for this game. Okay. Arkansas has a stronger strength of schedule. And LSU's defense is just not very good. All right. They're 101st against the pass. On defense, Arkansas is 24th in pass, again, passing the ball. So, in passing yards, I should say. So, yeah. I think Arkansas can win this game outright. I haven't been too impressed by LSU. I know it was a huge win for them last week against Ole Miss, but I also feel like it could be a letdown spot now on the road against a team that's feeling really good about themselves.
Yeah,
going into play this game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like it. I had it written down. I had Arkansas money line written down. Wasn't sure if I wanted to play it or not, but I like you.
And I also just cannot root for Brian Kelly 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row is pushing it. And yeah, that was a lot of emotion last week. And I feel like that was their Super Bowl. And I think they come back down to earth this week for sure. I have a couple more things written down. First off, I think we've discussed this before. I am a Michigan State guy. Off last week, thank God. This week at home, it is homecoming and it is against Iowa. And I will be staying as far away from this as possible for two reasons. One, I kind of like them plus 6.5 or plus 5.5, I think it is. And that scares the bejesus out of me. And I feel like I'm a homer for it. And then also, there is a big train coming down the tracks. And I know we were talking some crap on them earlier, but next week is the game against Michigan. And they're going to wipe the floor with us. So I think deer in the headlights, seeing the headlights far away, I think they're kind of looking towards that as opposed to Iowa. So Iowa probably wins this game, but I just can't in my heart do it. So take with that information what you will. But I do have an actual play for you that I can talk about too. I have two of them. I have Utah minus 3.5, the late night game. Tough loss against Arizona State. I kind of like them bouncing back. And then also Kansas State minus 2.5 at West Virginia. West Virginia stinks. Stop giving West Virginia credit for anything. They are terrible at football. Kansas State minus 2.5. Those are the thoughts.
Well, I'm with you on Utah. I was going to bring up Utah and TCU, the very last game of the night. TCU's defense kind of sucks, but I kind of like the under just because Utah's defense is pretty solid, especially when at home.
Yep.
But I will cheer for Cam Rising, who I guess is planning to come back for another year of college football and play 8 years.
Hell yeah.
So at least that was talked about in the office this week. I don't know why. Someone brought it up. But I think Utah is due for a bounce back too here. They were the ones who lost to Arizona State last week.
Yep.
And now they're at home. They're a really good program. I think TCU stinks.
And I think this is us thanking them for their service last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're on you. Let's go, Utah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and then Kansas State -2.5. I mean, West Virginia stinks. Yeah. Sorry, Pat McAfee. West Virginia stinks.
Yeah. All right. Well, shall we? We have given the picks.
Yeah, we've given the picks.
Shall we craft the money line parlay for this week?
I think we shall. Do that. Do you want to add anything from Friday, or we already have our parlay for Friday? Why don't we move on to Saturday?
Let's do Saturday. One, because then that gives me time to clip it and we can put it out there. And when we're right, people will give us all kinds of credit.
Oh, love it. I love it.
So let's start the 11 a.m. slate. Who do we think can start us off? I'm not touching Indiana and Nebraska.
I agree, but we both are feeling Rutgers, are we not, against UCLA?
We are both feeling Rutgers against UCLA.
Okay, all right.
So we'll go Rutgers at -178 on FanDuel.
Love it. All right, I'm just scrolling down the line here just to look.
You want to put Tulsa in there?
No. I don't want a parlay losing because of Tulsa losing to Temple. No, I don't want that in there.
We talked about Georgia Tech, but does Notre Dame lose the game though?
I don't think they lose the game. I just think they keep it pretty close. How about Kansas beating Houston at home? How do we feel about that? Kansas is 5-point favorites to Houston. I don't know Houston's
bad. Houston's pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know a super lot about Kansas, but isn't Houston not great?
Houston stinks. Yes.
Okay. All right. That's a blind one we could throw in there for some credit.
Do we want to throw in Notre Dame?
Yeah, I think it's safe that they win the game.
Okay.
And how about this? If they lose, then we get to be mad at them for it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. I like that.
All right. So we have Kansas, we have Notre Dame, and we have Rutgers.
All right. Yeah. So I'm moving into the 230s here. So far, I love those three. I think that's a great start. Great spot to be in.
James Madison against Georgia Southern. JMU is a wagon.
Have they lost this year yet?
I think they have, but man, every time I bet against them, they make me regret it. I took Coastal Carolina in recent weeks against them, and they just throttled them.
Yeah, let's throw them in there. I like that.
JMU on the road at Georgia Southern.
Love it. Now, okay, do we want a little spice to this at 6 o'clock? Do we want to put the Arkansas money line in here?
Yes.
Okay.
Plus 110 on FanDuel.
Perfect. We're
at
and then Kansas State, they're going to beat West Virginia.
Okay. -142. We have 6 legs up to plus 1283.
Do you want to put Utah in for the late slate?
We got to put Utah in now.
All right, so that's 7, right?
Yes, 7 legs plus 2117. Is that the one? We're not even going to put any of the good games. How many of these games are we going to actually watch?
I'd say 5 of the 7 at least. All right, so this is what do we want to call this parlay? Is this the dartboard thing? I don't know. I can't remember it.
We're throwing at the dartboard to try and hit a bullseye parlay.
Yes, that parlay is these money lines: Rutgers, Kansas, Notre Dame, JMU, Arkansas, Kansas State, and Utah.
The throwing the dart at the bullseye, or what is it? The throwing the dart at the dartboard and trying to get a bullseye parlay.
Yes. And let me just say this. If you're not with us, you're against us.
Right. I think, okay, we just go through it. one by one, quickly. All right.
Okay.
Rutgers at home bounce back after getting mollywopped by Wisconsin against a bad UCLA team that sucks on offense.
Yep. Kansas facing a bad Houston team at home. Honest to God, it's just a throw-in.
Notre Dame cannot lose any games the rest of the year. They cannot lose any games the rest of the year against Georgia Tech.
JMU reported wagon.
According to my degenerate betting during the week. Yes.
Yeah.
Arkansas, underrated. Christopher says in the chat, they're underrated. I agree. Arkansas is underrated.
Kansas State, good football team. West Virginia, bad football team. I don't care how far you have to travel for that one.
I agree. I have bet against, or I've bet on West Virginia a few times this year, and it's just gone terrible.
Every time.
And then we round it out with late night, Cam Rising, his mullet, and the Utah. What's their team name? What are they called? The Utes. The Utes.
The Utes.
Give us the Utes to round it out. 7 legs. 7 legs.
And then what is
$10 will win you $211, baby. Let's go.
Wow. What is the tag on it? Like, what are the odds?
Plus 2117.
I mean, giving away money here.
We're giving away money.
We were 1 away last year. We were one last week. We were 2 defensive pass interference calls away from winning that bet.
Yes. So, again, Rutgers, Notre Dame, Kansas, JMU, Arkansas, Kansas State, and Utah money line. We will see you at the bank. The bank. I'm going to stop watching dogs after this one hits because I'm not going to need the money.
Yeah, we're gonna the big investment firms, we're just gonna buy one of those right quick.
The throw the dart at the dartboard and trying to hit a bullseye parlay is locked in. And the, what did I call it?
Last $5 in your account.
And the last $5 in my account to avoid depositing parlay is locked in. Best of luck to everyone on their bets. We made it under an hour, Tommy. Credit to us.
And we blabbed a lot.
We did.
Yeah.
But guess what? We'll be right back here tomorrow to talk about the NFL, and I can't wait.
Let's do it.
And we don't even have to sweat anything about the Bears. So I can't
off
wait.
Week? Come on.
Off week. Let's go. We're just pure degenerates. All right. Thanks to the few people who tuned in live. I appreciate y'all. Hit the like button for it. And I'm going to put up separate videos regarding other team, like certain teams on the YouTube channel. So if you missed the entire thing, either rewind it or, hit the subscribe button. You'll get notified whenever new videos go up. So definitely. I appreciate, again, the support. It means a lot. We went over 500 subscribers this week, and that's a huge success for me personally and Tommy as well, because he's helped. So
yeah. And go on over to my YouTube channel if it tickles your fancy.
Yeah. Go on over. All right. Okay. See y'all tomorrow. And best of luck